What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Trader Without a Radio. This is your host, Trader. You already know. Hold on. Because sometimes I feel like you're gonna do it, and I don't want to overdo it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna do what?
The intro. You got it.
Oh, hey everybody!
Wow. And now we're live.
And we're here.
Welcome back to another episode. Like I said, this is Trader Without a Radio, so you never know what's gonna happen, and we're always recording live, so we don't edit anything, and we don't have a post-production team. This is going raw, like we're on YouTube right now.
Oh, we're live.
Yeah.
Yeah, say hi in the chat. No.
Hey, ooh, imagine.
Live
we should
chatting?
go live. That would be dope.
That would be cool.
Yeah, welcome back to another episode. And this week we are going to be talking about a lot of things Chicago, man.
A lot of things Chicago, man.
A lot of things Chicago, man.
Chicago, man.
Chicago, man. Who says that?
Chicago, man. I don't know. Kanye West?
Lupe Fiasco. Yeah, close. Who do you think of when you think of Chicago sports?
Oh my god. This is the perfect.
Just going to dive in there.
It's Derrick Rose, man.
Really? Is that scripted?
That's who I think of.
Wow.
No. Like all planning aside, the person that I think of when I think of Chicago sports is Derrick Rose.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Nice. Why is that?
Well, because he plays for the Bulls. No.
Right.
Because I don't follow baseball all that much. I don't follow football all that much. The only sports that I follow is basketball.
Oh,
and
okay.
So, when Derrick Rose was drafted and Chicago was good.
Yeah.
That's who I associate with.
Right.
Or who I associate Chicago sports with.
Yeah, I think that would be a valid reason. Wow, you don't follow baseball at all?
Oh my god!
See?
Every time this comes up,
that's baseball. You remember Sammy Sosa and
I know who he is, yeah. But
you never cared about.
Yeah. In the same way that everyone knows who Michael Jordan is.
Who?
Even if you don't. Even if you don't follow sports or basketball, odds are you know who that is.
No, that's true. That's a great segue, I guess, because I really wanted to talk today about the recent documentary that came out for Derrick Rose.
Yeah.
I think they called it Pooh,
Pooh,
which is really cool. If you think about it, that they named it after his childhood name. Before we dive into that, though, I want to talk a little bit about our viewers and the giveaway that we were talking about last week.
Oh, the Fandango gift card.
We have a thing about fingers, bro. We gotta stop.
I was about to say. So last time it was one finger. Yeah. Now we're doing the whole hand.
Now we're doing all four. Real quick before we get into this Derrick Rose conversation, which platform should we do the giveaway on?
That's a good question. I haven't given it much thought. I feel like just the best one to get the most people would be if we just did it via Facebook.
Facebook? I was thinking that too.
Because that's the one that has the most, the widest. That's the widest net that we can cast. Yeah. That has the most audience, I guess.
And do you think it would be a good idea to go with them to the movies? What if it's some weirdo guy from Kansas that follows us randomly?
Hey, we're gonna go to the movies with him. We're going to Kansas.
Oh, that's gonna be awesome. Yeah.
See,
all right.
We're talking about how it's gonna be weird.
Yeah. So then let's set it up on Facebook, and we should do it for a new. Maybe we could do it with Avengers. Ooh, do you have your Avengers tickets?
I've had my Avengers tickets for 2 weeks now.
Oh shit, nice. Did you? Are you going on the midnight?
No, fuck all that.
Oh, okay,
that's stupid. No.
Wow.
I don't know. Actually, I probably could have because I bought my tickets. Well, I got in line to buy my tickets at 8 a.m. the day that they went out.
Oh wow.
I bought them at 2:30 in the afternoon.
Really? You were waiting in line that whole time?
Yeah.
It's like a Lollapalooza fucking.
Yeah, it's like that.
Wow.
So I don't know. Maybe I could have actually booked them for that time.
Yeah.
Because when it actually came up and I was able to purchase my tickets, there was 4 seats missing. So the whole theater was still unbooked. So maybe it would have been unbooked at those screenings, but I don't know. I feel like probably not.
Okay, so then we'll give out more information this week.
Yeah,
regarding
we'll figure out
contest.
what movie. Maybe Detective Pikachu.
Ooh, that'd be a good one. Assuming that they're into Pokemon and stuff.
Well, if they're not, they lost.
Well, I saw the trailer for that the other day. I still can't get over the whole live
action
Pokemon.
Pikachu?
Yeah, because it's not just Pikachu. They have some cameos. Yeah.
Yep.
I know I saw Mewtwo in one of the.
Yeah, they got Mr.
previews.
Mime. They got all of them.
Yeah, that's crazy. So yeah, we'll get into that. And another thing I want to tell you guys, we are going to Wisconsin this weekend. By the time you watch this, we had gone to Wisconsin for the Joey Diaz.
Joey Diaz, 56 and still slinging dick tour.
Oh yeah, that's great. That's such a creative name, bro. Like, do you think he came up with that like out of his ass? He's like, oh, I'm gonna name my tour.
I feel like he was in the bathroom just like whatever, writing on a piece of notebook paper because that's what he does.
Right. That guy's a genius. For everyone listening that doesn't know who Joey Diaz is, you should go check him out. He's really funny. I think you should check out his stand-up before anything. What are the chances of us like meeting him, bro? Because
probably really low.
Really low, right?
Just like from listening to his podcast and stuff, how he talks about how he likes to get in, do his thing, and get out. Like he's not one to fuck around.
You know what? Even though like I know that, I feel like I'm not even mad at him for doing that.
Right?
You know,
like you just accept it.
Yeah,
that's Joey.
Because he even talks about like if you ever run into him at a restaurant or a bar, like don't buy him shots, like don't fuck around, like don't bring him ranch for his wings, like
what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah, he's so cool though. I don't know. I think we could get close to meeting him, right? Like we would have to.
What does that mean? Like you almost meet him? Like,
what?
Like he's walking down a hallway and then you walk down that hallway 2 minutes later, like. Almost met him. Smells
like Joey in here. No.
Just smells like ranch.
That actually happened to me with this volleyball player that I follow, and he has a YouTube channel. It's two brothers, and they were on tour for this volleyball AVP tour. So when they came to Chicago, I was like, oh, they're going to have a Chicago vlog. It's going to be dope. I got to go meet them. So me and my girlfriend, we go to this tournament, and I kid you not, there's like thousands of people on North Avenue Beach, right?
Right.
As soon as we walk in, I was explaining to her, I was like, all right, look, like, I know they're here. They have a couple of games set up today. This is our goal. Like, we got to meet one of the brothers. She's like, okay, what does he look like? And as soon as she said that, bro, I see him walk by, right?
Oh, and like that's what he looks like,
bro.
Like that.
And he has his like camera in hand, like with the tripod, like he's vlogging
like,
and stuff.
Thing?
Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's him. And then she goes, oh, well, go talk to him. Like, go say hi. And I was like, oh, wow. yeah, I'll go. So, dude, I got nervous, right? And like a fangirl, I got fucking nervous.
It's like when you're little and your mom's like telling you to go say bye to your aunt.
Right? Like, go, mijo, ya nos vamos, go. No. Yeah, exactly. So she was like, go. And then I'm going. As soon as I'm like building momentum that way, dude, he turns around and like walks out, like leaves the general area. And like, I didn't want to follow him, that's weird. So I was like, okay, I'll see him later. Like, like, don't, baby, come back. Like, but I didn't get to meet him. Apparently, I don't know what happened, but.
So that's what you want to do with Joey Diaz.
Yeah, I want to like vaguely like be like in the same
almost meet him.
Right, like arm distance.
Like, I can almost touch you.
Right. But because you know how they say like, oh, you don't know if your idol is gonna be weird like when you meet him.
Right.
Yeah.
You don't know what they're gonna be like.
Yeah. So. All right, well,
I feel like meeting Joey's going to be the same as listening to his podcast. Like,
that voice, man.
Like, if you could just, man, I'm excited to hear him laugh.
Bro, when he gets all into it, he starts laughing. He's all excited.
You got the sweat rolling down.
So everyone listening, I know this is a weird-ass conversation to have. Because first of all, you're like, who the fuck is this Joey guy? And why is he sweaty? Like,
why is he sweaty?
But this guy, I'm always correct. This guy is so like, I don't know, his voice is just so like, it's him.
Yeah, it's so
like,
unique.
It's so unique, and like his attitude is so unique. This guy gives me motivation on Monday mornings when I don't want to wake up, bro. Like
honestly, all those like Twitter posts, Instagram, all that stuff.
Yeah. So that's dope. Shout out to Joey, man. So I think with that being said, would you want to meet Derrick Rose if you see him in the streets of Chicago?
Ooh. Damn. You just 180 that. Yeah, I think I would.
Yeah, because
even more so like after watching this documentary, like just him explaining himself and stuff.
Yeah, I think I think he's more of a people person, but he's very like antisocial.
Yeah, that's what I got. Even while watching him play, and more so after watching this documentary.
Yeah. I know in the documentary they were talking about how he doesn't really like doing like interviews, and like you can't get him to answer questions, or you can't get his team, or you can't get like his family to answer questions. Why do you think that is, man? Like, you think that's just his personality, or he just tries to avoid the spotlight?
I think so. I think it's just part of his personality, like part of his upbringing, probably too.
Yeah.
Because like growing up in Inglewood, I mean, you probably don't want to be asking questions. Like you don't want people to notice you. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like you're trying to just go get by unnoticed.
Yeah.
9 times out of 10, if somebody's noticing you in Inglewood, it's not for something good.
Right. Well, yeah, because at the beginning of the documentary, I know they were talking about how at the park there was a couple of rules, like either you were there to gangbang, you're there to sell drugs, or you're there to play ball.
Right.
And like the gangbangers would like kind of make sure that the ball players were taken care of. Like you can't mess with the ball players.
Yeah, that was so weird.
Yeah, I thought that was really cool.
Such a weird system. They would stick up for the ball players because they were ball players.
Right. And it's like if you go to any other park, any other like neighborhood, like chances are you're gonna get robbed or fucking beat up.
Yeah, like it doesn't matter what you're doing.
Yeah. I thought that was really cool because it kind of reminds me of like, I don't know if you ever heard that Serena Williams and Venus Williams story, how the dad used to like clean up the tennis court in their park and like kind of like brush away the neighborhood like thugs and be like, oh, my daughters have to practice, like you guys gotta stop loitering, you know.
I didn't know about that.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Where did they grow up?
You know what, I don't know.
Ruined it.
Right? I know. There's so much momentum. Like,
you had so much momentum going, man.
Bro, the thing about, so what I've learned throughout this podcast experience is if you have a conversation with Renee, you got to come with the facts, bro. Like, you're so factual. Like, I could be talking about, oh, yeah, so, dude, I had spaghetti the other day. And you're like, oh, where's spaghetti originating? You know, like where did they make the sauce? Bro, I had spaghetti. Like, how... I bought it at fucking Jewel. No.
Oh, what brand was it?
Exactly. See, like you gotta come with it.
See, man. I would have asked what brand it is, but
no.
What did you say? What kind of spaghetti?
Yeah, what kind of spaghetti? Like,
where was it? Angel hair? Was it?
Wow.
Linguine,
pastrini, momamba.
It's all spaghettied.
But come with the facts if you have a conversation with Renee.
Apparently,
if you get to meet Renee in the street, don't ask those stupid ass questions. Wow. Like you're there for one reason. No.
You're there to tell me where spaghetti comes from.
Yeah, for real. So yeah, going back to Derrick Rose, dude. The documentary, I didn't like how it aired on that special. Like,
oh my god,
website.
bro! Let me talk about that.
Yeah,
I was so pissed.
Well, how'd it go?
Well, because like. Okay, so they made the documentary. Yeah, that's cool. But the documentary is basically free. Like, you can log online and just watch it.
Yeah.
But I hate how... I don't know. I guess I don't understand Stadium as a whole. Because it's basically an online TV channel.
Yeah, Stadium is the website that hosts the documentary.
Yeah. And thank you. I forgot to say that.
Yeah.
So it's an online thing. And, you know, with most things online, you could just... click a button and you start watching it, you know, or like when you're watching something on Netflix or YouTube or whatever, you click it and you start watching whenever you want.
Right.
But they have an actual schedule, like they're a TV channel, like they're Fox or something.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I was super confused by that because I was like, oh, it's out, like I could just watch it, but
no,
they literally have day by day, time by time, like Eastern. Yeah.
And the dumb thing is, I think once they finish, because on that page they only had like 5 or 6 showings listed. Mm-hmm. I think once that last showing happens, they're just gonna put it on YouTube or something.
Oh wow! Yeah,
and I was so annoyed because, you know, I was trying to watch it and I was looking up the watch times and I was like, okay, this is dumb. So I tried like looking it up to see if someone else had like recorded it and put it up online somewhere, and I couldn't find anything related to that. So that pissed me off even more. So then, when it was going to come on, I wasn't watching it, but I just recorded the whole thing so I could watch it later.
Yeah, I noticed that, yeah. You put it in our Google Drive.
Yeah, and then I went through and I was like, oh, there's commercials in this. That's stupid. So I went and I took the commercials out.
I was going to ask you, bro, like, how did you get the commercials to, like, yeah, you fucking skipped over all of them.
I put it into Premiere and chopped the commercials out.
Are you serious? Oh, bro, that was super clutch.
I put it into Premiere, cut the commercials out, exported it again, and then uploaded it.
It's kind of like when you're watching, like, The Office or something on Netflix, and they just, like, it just goes black, but then it comes right back on. That's exactly what he did. Okay, that makes a lot more sense now. I'm glad you mentioned that.
It was so annoying. So I really hate how they went about releasing it, I guess. How they're trying to I don't know what their goal is.
I think since there was buzz around the premiere, I think they were just trying to create traffic and kind of get people to
get viewership
on their website, because I didn't know what Stadium was before this. Like, I had never heard of it. But I was messing around with the website, and it's not just basketball and documentaries. Like, it's like other sports, and like you can see highlights, and it's kind of like a watered down ESPN, really.
Yeah, it's kind of like that.
So that, in that sense, I thought it was pretty cool. But you're right, it was annoying how you can't just watch it whenever you want.
Yeah, that's where Stadium is actually the company that broadcasts the ADL games.
Oh, really?
So that's how I had known of them before.
Oh, nice. Okay, so then do they do that like with a bunch of teams around the nation, or is it?
Yeah, so they'll do like a game of the week or whatever type thing.
Oh, that's pretty badass. Okay, so then it is like
it's like a watered down ESPN.
Watered down ESPN, yeah.
But yeah, that alone annoyed me. It made me almost not want to watch it.
You know, I didn't know that this shit was gonna be like 2 hours long, bro. Like, it was like an hour, like 40 something.
Yeah, it was exactly an hour and 40 exactly.
Well, because you cut out the commercials, right?
Yeah, the runtime was 100 minutes. So yeah, with commercials it was like 2 hours.
That's crazy. And speaking of networks, I did like how they reached out to like Stacey King.
Oh
and, like,
my god,
the radio host over at ABC and stuff. That was really cool. And I was reading this review on the documentary, and they kind of gave me a different insight, because they were saying how when you remember like watching the Bulls play during that time, you remember Stacey King getting all excited and getting like, idolizing Rose while he's, and they were kind of saying like, of course they're going to have him on for the documentary because he's going to make him look better than what he kind of was. Do you feel that Derrick Rose's highlights were kind of pushed a little bit more by the commenters and like, you know what I'm saying? Because Stacey King was a big fan of Rose, and so was the other guy, and they were saying that it was kind of like a biased thing, but every announcer for every team is going to be biased.
Yeah, I was saying that's the same thing with any hometown announcer.
I think a neutral like announcer would be like fucking Charles Barkley.
Yeah, like you would have to get like a national broadcaster.
Yeah. But yeah, they were saying like, oh, he wasn't even that good. But Stacey King was the one that developed the too fast, too strong.
Yeah.
Like,
and actually just listening to that and throughout the whole documentary, like the little cuts from Stacey King talking, it was so cool just to hear those, because Derrick Rose hadn't been that version of Derrick Rose in so long, so just hearing them was really cool, and like it put everything in perspective for me about how crazy it was to watch Derrick Rose play.
Bro, for the little time that we had him, I feel like that was a moment where we were like, holy shit, like we got one, like and I had forgotten about this, but the documentary reminded me. It was so nostalgic to like see him see the highlights and shit.
And that's where I was getting to, because like watching his highlights in documentary, as weird as it might be, every so often I watch like a Derrick Rose highlight video on YouTube. Yeah. And it's like mind blowing to like watch his highlights.
Oh my god, the way he cuts down the middle and like
that's why I was gonna say that he's not being overhyped by Stacey King or like by whoever. Like I don't think that argument's valid at all. Like no matter what your opinion is on him, you can't deny that he was an MVP.
Right. Yeah, and
he was the most valuable player in the league.
Yeah. And I liked his self-campaign where he was like, why not? Like, I had totally forgotten that was even the thing. Like, why not? Why can't I be MVP? Why can't I do this? Bro, oh, man.
So, like that, and then just hearing Stacey King, bro. Like, all the Stacey King quotes, like the two bags. No. Damn,
paper or plastic?
Back when you didn't have to pay for the bags in Chicago.
Wow. Oh, that tax?
Yeah, that's 7 cents, man.
Yeah, that'll get you.
No, that too big, too fast, too good. Too strong.
Yeah.
And then every time he did a dunk, he's like, "Oh, did you not get the memo?"
right.
He's like, I forgot what it was. Like whenever he would like catch a lob and dunk it, he's like, "Ladies and gentlemen, that is your point guard."
Wow.
Like hearing all of those, like I was like, "Damn!" Like that was Derrick Rose.
That was Derrick Rose.
Like that's what I would watch every day.
There was one part in the documentary where he himself kind of breaks down a dunk that he had, where he cocks back and like he does this Phoenix. And they compared it to like a scorpion getting ready to attack.
Yeah,
I thought that was the coolest shit. Like he kind of even felt it, like,
Yeah.
That's dope. That was really cool.
So I don't know. I don't feel like having Stacey King or any of the Bulls, anyone like involved with the Bulls organization was like overhyping him or anything.
Yeah, I mean, you can't take that away from him. He was amazing, and they even had Jakeem Noah even talk about him and how good he was, and you could tell like they were so passionate about playing with each other. Like you could tell that there was more of a brotherhood than it was just regular teammates.
Like they weren't just teammates.
Yeah, which I was surprised. Why didn't they get like Luol Deng and like other?
Yeah, I was wondering that, and it was weird because throughout the whole documentary, I feel like they cut out a lot of important parts.
Yeah, like what?
So they never really talked about his first coach. They never talked about Vinny Del Negro.
Ooh, you're right.
And like that was an important part to Derrick Rose becoming the MVP. You know?
I forgot about Vinny. You're right.
And he never got mentioned. Like they barely mentioned Luol Deng. Like they didn't mention like how Kirk Heinrich was. He was the starting point guard and he took the bench role and like mentored Derrick Rose his first year and stuff.
Yeah. No, you're totally right.
I feel like they left out a lot of important stuff that, unless you were actually watching the Bulls during that time, like you would never even know. Yeah,
they kind of just like made it seem like he just rolled up on the team and like
and he was like, yeah, okay, I'm good.
Yeah, which they did talk about how the first summer camp he fucking sucked. Yeah, and they were kind of like iffy about him being hyped. But yeah, you're right. They didn't even Kirk Heinrich. You remember Captain Kirk?
Yeah, like they didn't mention that. They didn't mention fucking Ben Gordon at all,
bro. Ben Gordon had this shot. I remember, I forgot what game it was, but he took this crazy ass shot to win the game, and he just stood there, and it was like, he pumped his chest after. Like, bro, it was so dope to see him like shoot. That guy was good. No.
Yeah, and I don't know. I feel like they glossed over a lot of stuff. Yeah, and then because I feel like most of the documentary was talking about him like before he even got drafted, and then they kind of like fast forwarded through everything, and then only talked about his injuries.
Yeah, I didn't like how quick they got into the injuries. No, yeah, like it's gonna happen, and they even got like Chance the Rapper to talk on it. Like, but
that was pretty cool. They had Chance on it.
That was pretty cool.
That was like the one biggest name that they had, I guess you could say.
Yeah, aside from, Paxton. Who else? Non-basketball.
No, like that was it.
That was it.
The radio people.
They did have Jabari Parker talk about it a little bit.
That was cool, but he's from Chicago, so it doesn't count.
So is Chance. But you're right, because Chance, I think during that time, 2008, he wasn't even famous yet, so he did have a unbiased opinion.
He had he would have had the same experience with watching Derrick Rose as you or I.
Yeah, and I like how he was like, you could tell that the court was his like stage. He kind of compared it to being
performing,
like a performance. Yeah, that was really cool. And he had a point. Like Chicago at that time, they really needed like Rose to rep for them because, the Cubs sucked ass. The Blackhawks weren't on their run yet till like 2010.
Yep.
The Whites. Come on. No, didn't even finish it. Like,
what are you talking about? They had just won a championship in 2005.
No. Fuck that. But yeah, no. Everything Bulls was related during that time.
There was nothing going on in Chicago sports.
That's crazy.
Or were the Bears good? The Bears were good in the early thousands, weren't they?
Yeah, I think it was like 2006 when they were in the Super Bowl.
Oh, there you go. See?
Yeah, but and then nah, just trying to. But you're right. Yeah, that's all they really had was the Bears. So I have notes here on selective memory. They did talk about like his accomplishments, right? They talked about his awards. They talked about his high school attributes, but they didn't really go into detail about his college career.
True.
They did have his coach
5 minutes.
Yeah. Like they're like, oh, he decided to go to where did he play? Kansas? No.
Look at you.
See, I don't even remember.
Fucking up. Memphis.
There you go. Yeah. But they didn't really talk about what he did.
That was funny actually. There was a point in the documentary where they listed out all the schools that he was considering. And one of them was DePaul. I was like, what the fuck are you gonna do at DePaul? Like,
bro, that's the commute. You save money on room and board. No.
Oh my god, I saw that and I was like, that would have been the dumbest thing he could have done ever. Because it was a bunch of basketball colleges. So it was Memphis, Kansas, UCLA, I think was in there.
Yeah.
and some other one that I can't think of, and then DePaul. I was like, what?
I feel like I don't know. Maybe he just wanted to stay home to like be closer to his mom. I don't know. But you're right. DePaul, not even like a good like basketball like.
Yeah, like what? DePaul made it to the Final Four last year,
right? Was it them? Wasn't it like
It was Loyola.
Yeah, there you go, talking shit. Yeah, that was pretty funny, and
I got a good laugh out of that.
I know that Simeon was good because obviously they showed it, but. Do you know the backstory on Simeon? Have you seen that?
Yeah, I thought they completely glossed over that. I feel like they could have actually dove into that a little bit, and that would have been cool for the documentary.
Mm-hmm. Have you seen the one Simeon documentary, though? Benji?
Yeah, that's... Oh, well, there you go. That's his name, then.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was the player who he came, like, not even that far... Not that long before Derrick Rose was there, right? But yeah, he was, like... also on the same path. Like, he was going to go to the NBA. People thought he was going to be the next Jordan or whatever.
Yeah.
And he...
Well, actually, this was before, like right before even Jordan was just... This was like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah. Yep. I got my timelines all mixed up.
Yeah, but I thought it was cool how... Well, they didn't show this in the documentary, but I think it's cool that that's the reason he wore number 25 during high school.
Yeah, well, that's a thing with that high school now.
Oh, really?
Their best player is always awarded number 25 in his honor.
Ooh, okay.
That's why when Derrick Rose was there, he wore 25, and like that's what they do with that number. Rather than retire it, they just give it to the best player on the team.
That's dope. Imagine if every team did that. So it's like, 20, 25, yeah, that means I earned it. Like,
right. So that kind of thing. And
so LeBron would still wear 23. Nah, stupid.
And I forgot what the reasoning was. What the actual reasoning was from the school's standpoint.
Because that's when he passed.
Yeah. I imagine that's what it was. Like, he never got to live his dream. So by having other great players wear that number, he gets to fulfill his dreams through them.
See, and they did not
talk about that at all. Yeah. They showed like a picture of him in his jersey, and that was it.
Right, that baggy ass jersey.
Yeah, and I was like, bro, you could have talked about that. Would have been a really good, point. Like, would it have killed him to go get the coach from the high school team or something?
For real. I do like how they had his AAU coach. Yeah. They interviewed him. And at one point he's like, that little dunk he does? Or like a little behind the rim up?
I taught him that.
Yeah, he's like, I taught him that. Like, bro, come on, man. You know damn well. Like,
damn well you didn't teach shit.
And you still take the blue line every day and you're your regular ass. Yeah, I think that's funny though, man. How the whole neighborhood is just like, he's the first person to make it out of,
right,
Inglewood, so to speak.
And then there was a quote at one point in the movie that I wrote down, and I can't find it on my sheet now, but I think it was from Chance the Rapper, where like right after he got drafted. Oh, it was from Chance. I found it right as I was gonna guess it.
Wow, you're just gonna bullshit it?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
He was like, when he got drafted, it felt like we already won a championship.
Ooh.
Because like that's how excited people were, because the Bulls had a 1.7 chance of getting the first pick that year
in the lottery. Yeah,
and they got the pick. They drafted Derrick Rose, and everyone was going crazy. Like, I remember when they drafted Derrick Rose.
Yeah, like, 2008. Yeah,
I was like, oh shit, they drafted Derrick Rose. Because you remember, it was, do you draft Derrick Rose or do you get Michael Beasley?
Oh, and he ended up going with the Heat, no? Or
yeah, he got drafted by Miami.
Yeah. Bro, imagine if they would have chose Beasley over fucking Rose. That would have been stupid. But you're right. It was like a moment where Chicago was like, damn, like this kid's gonna like
this is it.
This is the dream. Yeah.
Yeah, like we're back.
Yeah, that's crazy. Which they did talk about in the documentary, how right before the draft, the Bulls called Rose and were like, hey man, like we might not pick you because of your brother's like criminal past.
Yeah.
Do you think that's real? Like, do you think that was exaggeration? Because that has nothing to do with Rose. I mean,
I think it's real. I can see how they would take that in consideration. Like, oh, his brother was, he was caught. He went to jail for dealing drugs in the past.
Yeah.
So what's to say he's not going to do something stupid when Derrick gives him all this money?
And they don't want to be tied into.
Yeah, they don't want to be tied with, oh, you guys drafted Derrick Rose. Derrick Rose's brother shot up a school somewhere. Oh, shit. So by association, now the Bulls organization looks bad.
That's not funny, but imagine his brother wearing all Bulls gear. Like, how are the Bulls going to get out of that one? No.
That's not funny, but
that's not funny. It really isn't. But the Bulls like they're just there like.
Like they're like trying to like say they had nothing to do with it, but like
just head to toe and all Bulls
decked
gear.
out. He's got Bulls gear that's not even out yet.
He has next season's merch.
He's got next season stuff.
Wow, you're right, man.
But no, but things like that. I guess that's probably what they were concerned about. You know, they didn't want something bad to happen, and by association, they were going to look bad as a franchise.
Yeah, I thought it was a cool insight, especially for like fans that saw Rose grow as a Bull. Like, I didn't know that about his brother.
Yeah, I didn't know that until I was watching the documentary either.
Yeah, I didn't know that they lived in a freaking 2-bedroom house with like 15 people, and some of them were crackheads. Do you remember the part where he's like, I used to pick up like fucking crack needles or crack pipes, and I used to give them to my grandma and ask her, what are these?
Yeah,
bro, like that's fucking crazy, and you don't think about that, and it kind of makes sense going full circle because every time Rose would cry, like when he won MVP or like when he got his Adidas
the Adidas,
yeah, and he would thank his mom. It's like he remembers all those fucking hard times, you know. Which, I mean, it's kind of cool that he doesn't try to like put this like gangster shield over him and was like, yeah, whatever, I earned this, you know. Like he literally talks about
gangster voice.
Yeah, what's up? No, you know, like. He was like real, and like that was a real ass reaction to winning MVP and stuff. Which I guess Kevin Durant did that too, but Kevin Durant's a little bitch. So. Bro, he is, man.
Yeah, but Derrick Rose did it first.
Yeah, you know. I guess that's kind of my second segment I want to get into. There was a lot of crying in that documentary, man.
Most of it from Rose.
Yeah, if you think about it, there was a lot of crying from Rose. Do you think his emotions kind of help shape his path, and by that I mean like you know how he didn't want to come back and he didn't want to play because he wasn't fully recovered,
right?
Do you think he was just being too emotional about it, or that was a smart move, like thinking about his future?
Yeah, I think that was a smart move. Like I remember when the documentary got to that point in time, like after his first injury and when he came back for like 10 games and got injured again.
Yeah.
Like I remember that point in time, like as it was happening.
Yeah.
Like I remember when the documentary was talking about how, the doctors say he's cleared to play, like, but he's not playing. Like he's out here in the warm ups, shooting around, doing all this stuff, but he's not playing. Like he'll warm up, like be drenched in sweat, like go change, and then he'll sit in his suit on the bench.
And you clearly remember watching.
And I remember watching that, and I was one of those people. I was pissed. Like, what do you mean he's not playing? Like he's fine. Yeah.
Right.
And I remember watching that, but it's funny how, and I think it was Joakim Noah who like hit the nail on the head for me. He's like, I remember selfishly wanting him to come back. Yeah. Like even if he didn't think it was ready or he wasn't comfortable, like it didn't matter to me at the time. I just wanted him to play because I wanted to win, or like because I wanted to watch it.
He nailed it really with that statement. Yeah.
And that's exactly how I felt at that time too. Because I was like, oh well, if the doctor says you can play, you should play.
What's your deal? Yeah.
Yeah.
But him being like emotional, being like, you know what, let me take my time. I don't want to fuck this up.
Right.
I personally think that had a lot to do with it. But at the time, I didn't know what was going through his head, you know?
Right.
And I got something here that someone pulled up when I was looking at research. They kind of gave an idea where he was being pulled, and they made it a racial thing about that particular time where he didn't want to play. So they're saying that a lot of people in Chicago, primarily white people who had money invested in the Bulls, were like either they had season tickets or they had enough money to go to the games, because ticket sales were pretty up at that point. Like I think they were at the all-time high.
Yeah.
Well, not from Jordan.
All-time high this millennium
generation. Yeah. They're saying that that demographic had a different view on his injury because they wanted him to play selfishly, where they just want to see him perform.
Right.
Where a lot of like black people or people of color, especially on the South Side, were like, no, like let him do his thing. Like he's ready when he's ready. They treated him like a little brother, like a cousin. That
and they touched on that theme like throughout the whole documentary.
And there was a guy, the reporter Vincent Goodwill, that spoke on it. He really nailed it, man. He was like, he pretty much said, well, one faction in one faction, you really want him to play. Well, pretty much what I just said.
Right.
But I think at that point I was one of the selfish ones, just like you were, where I was like, well, fuck that. Like, if he's ready, he's ready.
Yeah, if the doctor says he can play, he can fucking play.
But you think that's a racial thing where just white people didn't really care about his health? They just wanted to see a good performance.
I feel like that's hard to say,
because
like, I would agree with the majority probably.
Yeah.
Because I mean,
because Chicago is segregated in that sense.
Yeah, for people who are invested in the Bulls, like have money invested in the Bulls, the best thing that could happen to your investment is they win a championship.
Yeah.
Because then, ticket prices go up, the merchandise goes up, everything is selling, all the games are sold out.
Right.
So you get the most out of your investment. And from that perspective, I can see how people can forget that at the end of the day, these are people's lives.
Yeah. I think as an athlete, and not just Rose, but there's a lot of athletes where you forget that, shit comes first. Like, they have family members, or they can't, just get up and leave and like relocate, like shit like that.
Yeah, and the same thing happened too. Skipping ahead a little bit, when Derrick Rose was with the Knicks, and there was like that week span where he just left, like he disappeared.
I like that they talked about that. Yeah, he straight up just didn't even show up to the game. Yeah. Like, he went ghost.
He just went ghost mode.
Yeah.
And so that, I feel like it's the same thing, because even when he was in New York, they had the clips from the commentators and all the people be like, oh, you got to find out where he is. And then you got to either suspend him or bench him or something. And if you can't do that, you got to try to trade him. And if you can't trade him, you got to cut him from your team.
Yeah.
And like, that was it. Like, it was cut and simple in their minds.
Yeah.
And then watching that, and then immediately following up with them interviewing Derrick Rose, and he's like, yeah, it was too much.
Yeah,
it was like all the pressure. Yeah. And it makes sense. Like, even in like everyday life, like I'm sure most people listening, some days you're just like, fuck, like, your head's like overloaded,
like a mental like breakdown almost.
Yeah, like you're having like a breakdown. You're just like you're trying to process too many things. But then now imagine doing that while you're this NBA player, people are constantly talking trash to you, saying how you're washed up, and like, and knowing that all those people used to be your fans, like they used to love you.
That's crazy, yeah.
So like, I can't even imagine like what that feeling is.
So the only person you could really talk to is your mom.
Yeah.
Yeah. And he legit said, "Oh, I just had to talk to my mom." Like,
yeah,
there was nothing behind it. Like, there's no like controversy with the team. Like, I just needed to talk to my mom. Yeah, that is crazy.
I really liked the documentary for that aspect, because it gave you a really in-depth look at, what was happening in his mind throughout these moments, like when he was getting injured over and over again, when he had to take this leave of absence, when he was with the Knicks, when he got traded.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That was one of the clips that they put up on. It was like everywhere.
Yeah, I saw
it on Facebook. I saw it on YouTube. I saw it on Instagram. I saw it everywhere.
So I guess everyone that hasn't seen that clip, there's a clip. He's getting interviewed by the producers of the documentary, and it's like if it was written, really. They were talking about, where do you see yourself? Like, do you think you're gonna get traded? And he's like, nah, like I really want to be with the Bulls. Like, that's my team, that's my home. Like, we're gonna win. We have all this potential.
Yeah.
And then he gets a phone call from his agent, and he was like, hey man, like I want to tell you first, like, you're getting traded to New York. Yeah. And dude, Derrick Rose starts crying.
Yeah.
He starts crying, and like you could hear it, because he's mic'd up. Yeah. You could hear it, and in my head, like at first I was kind of like laughing, but then I realized, like, holy shit, like he really loved the Bulls. Like,
yeah, like this is home.
Yeah. And then you could even hear like the agent. He's like, hey man, like gather yourself. Like, don't tell anybody. Like, I want to tell you first. Mm-hmm. And then Derrick was like, I'm just overwhelmed, and like he's trying to like be cool about it, but
be cool about it,
bro. That's crazy, man. Like, and as like again as a fan, like I remember, he got traded to the Knicks, and then I remember seeing his first like he was answering questions, his Q&A, and then he's like, someone asked like, what do you want to tell the Bulls? Like, honestly, I just want to say thank you, like, right. Yeah, and you don't get that insight. Like, we didn't know about that call. Like, we didn't know that,
all that stuff.
I thought it was really cool to see that like happen and unfold. Fucking Rose, man.
Yeah, but I think the documentary gives you a good idea that it reminds you that, you know, all these players, like, they're humans, you know?
Yeah. And they all come from their,
yeah.
You know, from
the bulk of them come from, like, super humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Like, even, I guess the name that jumps out the most to me, because it's fucking LeBron James, is LeBron James.
Oh, who's that?
Oh, you know, LeBron?
Oh, LeBron?
You know, Believe Land?
Believe Land?
Believe
Wow.
Land? Yeah, like, that was almost the same upbringing. Like, he got raised by his mom. He had no father figure.
Yeah.
His coach was really, like, the closest thing he had to a dad.
His teammates.
His
were
teammates.
like his boys.
And he grew up playing basketball. And now, you know, he does all that he can to give back for, God, what's it called? Cleveland.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%. I also love, what I love about LeBron is that he reps Akron, too, which is, like, a city close to Cleveland.
Yeah.
So he even says it himself, like, I'm technically not from Cleveland. Like,
Right.
I'm from Akron. So it's, like, pretty cool how he, like, even narrows it down that much.
Right, to where he's really from. Because that's where he opened the school, too, right? He opened the school up
I
in
believe
Akron?
so, yeah. Which recently they were headlining news articles that they were overachieved. They excelled.
Nice. Everyone was doing really...
Yeah,
really well.
like better than what everyone thought. But yeah, man, Derrick Rose, that was a reminder of how much I used to like Derrick Rose. Like, I honestly forgot how dope it was to see them, and even when like Jimmy Butler came after him, you know, like yeah, we get wrapped around this whole like Butler thing and this whole new wave of Bulls, but then you got to go back to like Derrick Rose, and you got to go back to Kirk Heinrich, and you got to go back to, you know, even the Ben Wallace, like,
oh gosh,
dude, it was. And then I was trying to go back like hard as fuck
trace
to
it back.
trace it back. That's as far as I got. No,
I mean, that was
Kirk
basically
Heinrich,
it. Because Kirk Heinrich got drafted in 03
Nocioni,
with Nocioni, Ben Gordon, and
I think Lil Dang was with him at one point.
Lil Dang. That whole
Tyson
team
Chandler
came together like in, let's say, 2005.
Right, from like 05 to like 08.
Yeah, and then you can't really go back that much further. Like, you go back, you get Ron Artest.
Oh, that's right.
Crawford. What's
Jamal
his first name?
Crawford.
Jamal Crawford.
Yep.
And the other guy, the really big dude. Oh, I said Eddie Curry already, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you get those guys, and then right before those guys, they had Jordan, and they were winning championships.
Right. So then, yeah, we're not too far off with generations of Bulls.
It's not that far off, but I think the documentary was important for the sake of highlighting how important Derrick Rose was.
Right.
Like, even when you go to a game in the United Center, you know, if you get there like 10 or so minutes before the game actually starts, they play this big ass clip that goes like through like the whole Bulls history.
Yeah.
And they start with like the black and white clips of like the earliest
like
games.
Bob Love and all them.
Yeah. And then it gets to like when they drafted Jordan, when they were winning championships.
Right.
And then after that, it goes to drafting Derrick Rose, like going that first round against the Celtics.
Oh my God, they even touched on that in the documentary.
And that, bro, I'm so glad they talked about that.
Bro, that shit was amazing.
Because that was so amazing. Like, I remember watching that, and I was like losing my mind every game.
Yeah.
Because they were winning games, and I was like, shit, they're gonna beat the Celtics, which at the time the Celtics had just won a championship. Mm-hmm. And you know, they had Kevin Garnett, Ray Allen, and Paul Pierce.
Yep.
And you know, that's like the bulk of what it is.
That reminds me of watching that series, and I remember watching it at our boy Rob's house.
Yeah.
And I remember because his dad's a really big Celtics fan, so that was like the rivalry, you know. But
Yeah.
dude, you're right. I think they nailed it with giving you a slight history of what he means to the team. He was really a staple to Bulls history.
Yeah, like that's what you're gonna look back on. Like, when you look at from when he got drafted until he left, you know, that's Derrick Rose's team.
I think he is one of the few players that you can wear a Derrick Rose Bulls jersey and not get laughed at or made fun of, you know? Like,
wait, who's laughing at you for wearing Bulls jerseys?
What? Bro, okay, so you know how like if you wear like an old like say you have like a Bears jersey and it's like Rex Grossman, you know? Like look at this guy.
Look at this guy. You can't
fucking
afford the new one.
You know, yeah, like exactly. Like, you know, like
yeah.
Or if you have fucking, I don't know.
Like
I wouldn't wear a Ben Wallace jersey. Like,
yeah, if you have a Ben Wallace jersey or like a Chris Duhon jersey.
Chris Duhon, exactly, with his fucking ears. Yeah. Or CJ Watson or something like that.
Yeah, CJ Watson or fucking DJ Augustine. We had a lot of 2-letter people.
Ooh, should we try our random player test?
Random player test.
All right.
Okay.
So, okay, try to name players that weren't, like, in the spotlight.
PJ Brown.
Ah, that's a good one.
Yeah.
Oh, was that the chubby guy?
No, he wasn't that chubby.
No, right?
He was just really, he was old.
Okay. What about, I had so many before I came up with this game.
I think Brad Miller was his name.
Okay, man, slow down. Nah.
I'm gonna double check that one while you think of a name.
Okay. Well, I mean, we had the White Mamba for sure, but he kind of had his own comedy spotlight.
Yeah, like he was his own thing.
Scalabrini. Ooh, nah, he was pretty good.
Who?
Rick Hamilton.
Oh yeah, he was pretty good. Yeah. It was Brad Miller.
Was it?
Yeah, Brad Miller is a American former professional basketball player, 2-time All-Star.
Oh shit! Oh really?
Yeah.
How? Nah.
He played for 6 teams.
Kyle Korver.
Okay, Kyle Korver.
That
one's not that obscure though.
You don't think so?
I'm not gonna count this one because I saw it here. But John Salmons.
Salmons, I remember him.
I remember that guy.
That good.
What's the other guy from Cleveland? Elgaskis? Or Zolgaskis, something like that.
Elgaskis,
right?
Yeah,
the big ass bald dude.
Yeah, he was on the Bulls.
He came with John Salmons.
Did he really?
Yeah.
No shit.
Let's see. You had Carlos Boozer. You had
Goodwin. Who's the good bald guy? Goodwin.
Gooden.
There you go.
Goodwin. You're all thinking of the school.
Good win, bro. Like because they won.
Good
they won
game, guys.
Yeah. Good win. Smack the butt. Bad Bulls players. I don't know. Okay, so maybe this game wasn't a good game.
I guess not for you. I came up with like 4 names.
Oh, here we go.
Okay, so when you're looking at a list,
no, he's still pretty good.
Oh, Tyrese Thomas.
Oh, that guy was good though.
He was tall.
He was decent. They had one player that went over to OKC and got hurt. Oh man,
not doing a whole lot for me there, man.
All right, fuck this game.
Yeah, I guess. Do you have anything else that you wanted to talk about for the Derrick Rose documentary?
Yeah, go watch it because if you were a slightest even if you like the Bulls from 2008 to 15, 14.
Yeah.
I think you should definitely enjoy this documentary. Yeah, no, I give it. What would you rate it?
I don't know. I feel like I feel like it's really targeted. I feel like if you weren't actually following the Bulls during that time, like this documentary means basically nothing.
Tony Snell.
Oh, he's pretty good with Milwaukee though.
Is he? No, I'm still trying. No, go ahead.
I feel like if you weren't following the Bulls, like you're not gonna take much away from it.
That's true.
So I would recommend it.
Even for the Chicago aspect though.
Oh, because I feel like they don't play into that too much. Like they mention it, like that part about the segregation and like how you had 2 Chicagos and how Derrick Rose was like uniting both of the Chicagos. I know Chance says some other stuff about Chicago and like on a broader scale. I feel like they touch on it, but they didn't really. It didn't go anywhere.
Right, they didn't give much insight other than
like that. Unless you're there to watch and learn more about Derrick Rose, I don't think you're gonna care for it much.
Okay. Yeah, no, you're right. But what would you rate it though?
Oh, for me, I would rate it like a 4 out of 5.
Oh, okay.
Because it was really good. Like watching, bro. Like I got nervous.
Did you get emotional? Be honest.
I did. I did.
Oh,
I was gonna get
man.
into this. When it cut to the playoff series, I forgot the year. But they showed it. It was outside the United Center. It said playoffs, game 1 versus Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. And like my heart, like my stomach sank.
Because that's when it happened.
Because that's when it happened.
Yeah, the injury.
That's when the first ACL injury happened.
Yep. And it was just the slightest jump. Like he didn't even go up for the layup. Like he passed it.
Yeah, and so like watching it again, I was like, just reading that, knowing that it was gonna happen. Like when you got that sinking feeling in your stomach. Mm-hmm. Like you feel like you have to throw up, but like you don't, and it's just like that feeling.
Yeah.
And so,
like opening up a box of Krispy Kremes, knowing there's only one left. It's like you just know, like you got, this is it. Like this is, it's over. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I guess I do.
I'm kidding, guys. I'm kidding. No.
Yeah, and then just watching him jump and like watching the injury happening, and then him talking about the injury.
Oh yeah,
because he was like, "Oh, like I jumped and I felt it tear like a little bit." And
as soon as he landed.
Yeah, and he's like, when I landed and I was on the floor, like that's when I felt it rip all the way, and I was like, why do you have to talk about it?
Wow. And then he's like, yeah, as soon as I put my hands over my head, like
that's when he knew.
And like you remember like watching this, and like it's kind of cool though in a way, because it's like when you watch it, you don't really know what's going on in their head, and not a lot of players talk about their injuries. I mean, why would they? But
right.
Yeah, it was kind of cool hearing his perspective.
Yeah, like hearing his dialogue about how it happened. Yeah. And then again, like every time they showed one of his injuries, I had that feeling in my stomach, because I remember watching it when it was happening. Like I remember watching that game.
Yeah.
And just being like, fuck, well, like he's hurt again.
And then that's exactly what it was. And it's like he only played for 10 games?
It was like 10 games before he tore his meniscus.
Yeah.
And then I don't know, I feel like I just got bad luck, man. It's like, even if you remember a few years back, Paul George, another basketball player who at the time played for the Pacers, in a scrimmage getting ready to play in the Olympics for Team USA, he went up for a for a putback. It was a putback dunk, I think. Mm-hmm. And he landed awkwardly, and he broke his bone in his leg. And I remember watching that scrimmage.
Oh, you saw it live?
I watched it happen, yeah.
Yeah.
And just watching that, I was like, oh my God. Yeah. Like, it was terrible. I remember what I was eating. I remember where the food was from. Like, I remember who I was with. Like, I remember all of that stuff.
That's crazy.
And same thing when this guy got hurt at the beginning of last year. Oh God, what's his name? Gordon Hayward.
Oh, from the Celtics?
The guy who's on the Celtics now, the big white dude.
Yeah.
The first game when somebody lobbed it up to him and he went up to dunk it, and then he landed and he just broke his foot.
That's crazy, man.
And like I remember watching that too. And
bro, you just gotta stop. No, well, he played against LeBron that game. I remember that.
Yeah,
like played against Cleveland.
That was opening day, Cleveland versus Celtics, because Kyrie had just left.
Oh, that's right. That makes sense.
And just like watching all those injuries, like I don't know, it sucks watching those things, man.
Well, I say you gotta just stop watching basketball for a while. Nah,
apparently
people's lives are at stake. Nah. Man, Zion Williams, dude. I remember watching his toe get bruised, and the shoe busted out of when the foot busted out of the shoe, man. Like that was tragic, dude. Honestly, that's all it was. Like, thank God nothing happened. But if you really think about it, this motherfucker, at least a toe nail got clipped or something. Like, nothing really happened to him. It was just scary. Like, yeah. He still has no handles though, but we'll talk about that.
That was bad.
Talk about that in a different episode. Yeah. So
I guess, what do you give it? I gave it my rating. Ooh. I don't know. You didn't give it one yet.
Honestly, I enjoy documentaries, and this one kind of hit home because like Derrick Rose was the shit. So this is gonna be super biased. I would give it 5 out of 5.
5 out of 5. Yeah. See, that's why I gave it a 4.
Just so you won't be biased.
Just so it didn't seem like I was being biased.
I don't give a fuck. This was super biased. I give it 5 out of 5. Especially the moment that got me was the trade call when the agent called him and told him he was going to New York. And then it was dope because they even go into explaining how he felt during the little what was it? How many points did he put up with the Timberwolves?
Oh, 50?
50? Yeah. And that was like it felt like that was a couple weeks ago, like really.
Yeah, honestly. It was.
And they talk about it in the documentary, and it's like, damn, like knowing what I know now and all that he went through in Chicago and the injuries and all that 50-point game just must have felt like a fucking.
Well, yeah, that's why at the end of the game he was like crying and stuff too.
Yeah.
The part that got me when they were talking about that this past season. Mm-hmm. Was when he came back and he was playing in the United Center and he was shooting free throws and they started chanting
Yep.
And they started chanting MVP for him.
That little smile he had when he was shooting that free throw, and then he cracked the smile.
Yeah, and it made me happy hearing people cheer for him and calling him an MVP.
Yeah, because usually like it'll be a traitor sense where you go back to your hometown and they don't want you there,
booing him and stuff.
Man, he must have felt good as fuck. But yeah, 5 out of 5 for sure. It was 6 out of 5 now. I forgot about that part.
I fucked up.
Yeah, thank you guys for joining us on this awesome Derrick Rose memory lane.
Memory lane fucking podcast.
Podcast. Ooh, broadcast podcast. Pasta sauce. Back to the spaghetti.
So what kind of spaghetti was it, man?
It was Rossellini.
Perfect.
There you go. Tune in next week where we have a different topic, different discussion, different edits, different
clothes.
Ah, man. Should we just tell them? I feel like we should tell them.
I think you should tell them.
So Renee came over. We're setting up the production. We're setting up the lights and everything. I'm getting ready. I'm fixing the camera, and then in the camera I have footage from last week's episode, and I'm putting it up, and I looked down at my shirt and I was like, wait a second. And I look at the camera footage and I was like, dude, I'm wearing the exact same outfit, bro. He's like, no, you're good, man. People are not going to notice. Like, no, people are going to know. That's how you end up on those fucking memes. No.
When you thought no one would notice.
Right? And your boy has on a different wardrobe. No. So,
up, man.
There you go, guys. I went to change just for you. Now I'm all nervous. No. But, yeah, thank you guys for rocking with us. This has been your host with the most. Trado, you already know.
Oh, you want me to say it?
See, we got to work on that, bro.
Well, it's because sometimes you say the whole thing, sometimes you don't.
Okay, I don't know. Sometimes Derrick Rose goes up for a layup, but sometimes he passes it out to the 3-point line.
And I'm Renee from the other day.
No, all right, guys. Thank you. Tune in next week. You already know. Trader Without a Radio.
All right, cool.
All right.
Oh, I missed.
Yeah, keep that in.
I hit the wrong...